8 people who really shouldn't own a pet. Having a pet is a big responsibility, and not everyone is cut out for it. Owning a pet can be difficult and expensive, so it's important to make sure you're ready before committing to one. In this video, we'll look at 8 people who really should not own a pet. From those who are constantly on the go to those who simply don't have the time or resources to properly care for an animal, this video looks at 8 types of people who should stay away from pet ownership. Watch on to learn more. 1. People with allergies. For those who suffer from allergies, owning a pet can be a challenging and potentially dangerous experience. Animal fur, feathers, dander and saliva can all trigger allergic reactions and make it difficult for people with allergies to be around pets. If you have allergies, it's best to avoid owning a pet altogether. You should also consider the possibility that someone in your home may develop an allergy to the pet, as this can be a common issue. 2. People with asthma. Owning a pet can be a difficult decision for someone with asthma. It can be especially challenging if they don't have enough time to devote to their pet's care. Allergens in pet fur and dander can trigger asthma attacks, so it's important to take into consideration the level of care a pet requires and whether or not it is something a person with asthma can realistically handle. If you do decide to bring a pet into your home, make sure you are aware of the potential risks and take appropriate steps to reduce those risks, such as grooming your pet regularly and keeping your home clean. 3. Elderly people. As people age, their physical capabilities can diminish and their caretaking skills can be compromised. Owning a pet can be a challenge for the elderly and is not recommended for those with limited mobility or in poor health. Not only could taking care of a pet be too physically demanding, but seniors may not be able to keep up with the financial costs of pet ownership. Additionally, many elderly people are on medications that may interact negatively with certain types of pets. Lastly, if an elderly person passes away, they may leave their pet without a caretaker. 4. Those who have young children. Young children, especially those under 5, can lack the maturity and understanding required to properly care for a pet. They may not understand how to be gentle with an animal or realize when an animal needs help. It can be dangerous for young children to be around pets because animals can cause injury unintentionally. Pets also require a lot of attention and supervision, which young children may not be able to provide. It's best to wait until your child is older before introducing them to the responsibility of pet ownership. 5. People with busy schedules. Having a pet while having a busy schedule can be incredibly difficult. If you are constantly on the go, having to take care of a pet can become very stressful. Not only do you have to make sure you have time to feed, walk, and groom your pet, but you may also need to make arrangements for a pet sitter or boarding service if you need to travel for an extended period of time. If you're out of the house for a full workday, your pet could end up being alone for a long stretch of time. That's not fair to them or to you. It's best to avoid getting a pet if your schedule is going to make it difficult for you to properly care for them. 6. People who travel frequently. For people who travel frequently, owning a pet can be a difficult and time-consuming responsibility. Having a pet means needing to make sure they have someone to care for them while you are away, and that could mean bringing in a friend, family member, or pet sitter. This can become expensive and stressful. If you travel often, it may be better to look into other options like fostering a pet or volunteering at an animal shelter instead. 7. People who live in small spaces. Living in a small space can make owning a pet difficult and frustrating. If you're living in a studio apartment or a tiny house, having a pet can be very stressful. Pets need room to move around and play, which can be hard to provide in a small space. Cleaning up after your pet will also be difficult if there isn't much room to spare. Additionally, pets need access to a backyard to go outside and take care of their needs. Without this, they may not have the proper exercise and stimulation needed for a healthy life. For these reasons, it's best for those living in small spaces to avoid owning a pet. 8. People who don't like animals. Many people love animals and dream of having a pet, but for some, the thought of owning one brings dread. If you're someone who doesn't like animals or have no interest in them, having a pet is probably not the right choice for you. Pets require love, attention, and care, so it's important that anyone who decides to adopt one be able to give these things in abundance. It's not uncommon for people who don't like animals to think that owning a pet might be a good way to learn to appreciate them. Unfortunately, this often isn't the case. Pets require a great deal of commitment and effort, and if you're not willing to put in the work, it can be stressful and overwhelming. Taking care of a pet isn't something you should do out of obligation, so if you truly don't like animals, it's best to avoid adopting one. If you liked this video, click subscribe and the bell icon for notifications. See you for another video.